evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the Southwest Collective. My name is Omar. I'm going to be showing you guys some tips and secrets on what to do with the ingredients that you guys will be receiving in your donation bags. So as you can tell, there's a huge variation of items that come along with that. Some of you guys might have exactly what you see here. There might be some differences, but you will be getting some bread this week. Some might be getting some English muffins. I'm sorry, some bagels. Thomas's Bagels. They also make English muffins. We've got tomates, potatoes, pears. These little red guys. Don't confuse them with potatoes or apples. These are actually red pears. We have some red apples, some good old just Washington Reds, oranges, and you even get chayote, and some carrots in some cases. You'll also be getting a dozen eggs. This is one that I'm quite certain is actually in every single one of the bags this week coming up. So, all right, what can we do with this stuff? There's a couple different dishes that we can do. I'm going to use some stuff that is not included in the bag, and part of that stuff is things that most people will have in a common household, such as whole milk, salt and pepper, and some form of a cheese, whether it's white cheese, American cheese, anything like that. We can do stuff with all of this. So, first and foremost, let's start with the probably the more extensive recipe, and it's not hard at all. You're going to use the potatoes. We're going to use a skillet. In this case, I'm using a cast iron. You don't have to use cast iron. You can use a number of different skillets for it. You just need something that's a little bit taller that you can lay. You're going to shingle the potatoes, and you'll see what I mean by that along with the rest of the ingredients. So to start, we're going to take the potatoes and we're going to start slicing them down. You want to get nice rounds. You're going to try and get them as even as you can in thickness. That's really important so that they cook evenly, and so that you don't end up with certain spots that are completely cooked and other spots that are still hard when you cut through them. If you want to make it easier on yourself, because items such as potatoes, onions, things like that that are round, they tend to roll around a lot when you're actually cutting them. So sometimes what I do is that I'll take a couple slices down, get a nice flat surface going, and there. You set it down so it doesn't roll over. And start cutting through. Make sure you wash all your potatoes, all your produce. Nice little scrub of cold water. If you want to go more extensive, certain vegetables and fruits can actually be cleaned up using, I believe it's 1 tablespoon of baking soda and to about a gallon of water. You submerge it. You submerge all your fruits and vegetables into that water for about 15 minutes, and it helps decontaminate them from a whole heck of a lot of stuff. Just give them a quick rinse, and they're good to go. Put them into storage. We do that here at home. Every time we go out grocery shopping, we come back in, we put everything together in one giant bin and get it all knocked out for the week. All right, so next what we're going to need for this recipe, once we've got the potatoes, you're going to need some butter. You can use margarine if that's what you use at home. We're going to need the whole milk. We're going to use some cheese, salt, and pepper. Really straightforward. What you want to do is take that butter. It helps when it's a stick of butter. If it's not, just as long as you can get a nice smear through, which I kind of just did on here. This butter is a little too soft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and take my finger, get it all rubbed in there, all the way through. Make sure you guys have washed your hands all the way through. Especially with this pandemic, you want to make sure you're washing every part of your fingers and your hand. So you're going to have it all the way around, just like that. And so all you're going to do is just start shingling in the potatoes. You find a spot and go through with them. Just like that. Just like that. These little guys, the smaller ones, you can put it in the center. You're going to grab your salt. I'm using kosher salt. Most people like to have iodized table salt in their house. You can use that too. It's just whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you're used to cooking with. And you're just going to put pinches of salt around it. There's no exact measurement. This is done to taste. Same thing with the black pepper. I like I like my food heavy on the black pepper, so that's what I tend to do. And then Once I've got that first layer down, this is where the cheese comes into play. Now, if you don't have a solid block of cheese, here I'm using Swiss cheese. You can use a number of cheeses for this. If you have mozzarella, maybe you have Parmesan, even American cheese is fine. If you got the Kraft singles or any type of singles, you can just lay it out, cover it up with that. For this, I'm using Swiss cheese. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and take it to the box grater. We're going to use more cheese than that, but essentially what you want to do is cover it up. Just get a nice little layer of it on there. Nothing major, right? And then you're going to go ahead and shingle some more of these potatoes over it. Now, you can do this as thick as you want to make it, or you can make it as shallow. If you want to just leave it at two levels, you can leave it at 2 levels. I would say no less than these 2 levels is going to be what you're looking for, and or else it's just going to be kind of pointless, honestly. And you run the risk of burning it up a lot quicker. A little pepper. Like I said, I'm heavy on my pepper. I like black pepper. Take that cheese, get it all in there. So now there's a couple different things that you can do here with this next step. Right now what we're going to do is just going to go ahead and add some milk to it. This is whole milk, just really straightforward. Some people like to mix their whole milk with a couple of eggs. So for this amount that I'm making here, which is, gosh, probably, I'm looking at about, I'd say maybe about 10 ounces of potato. I'm using Yukon Golds as well. So about 10 ounces of a large Yukon Gold. It's going to go in here. You're going to use about, I would say about a cup and a half of milk. You can do about an entire egg with that amount, right? Just really simple, really easy, straightforward. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this and put it straight into the oven. Now depending on your oven, I usually run 385 on mine, but you want to make sure if your oven tends to run cold, run it at a higher temperature. If it runs too hot, then run it at a lower temperature. So essentially this is what you want to get to. So this is the finished product. It's cooked all the way through. This one's about 4 layers thick. It's got the cheese melted on top, a little bit of cream in there, or actually milk, and it's ready to go at this point. You can serve it, you can eat it like that. You can add a number of things to this dish. So this is just the base of it. You can add ham to it. You can add, if you want to get a little bit healthier, you can add peas, maybe some tomatoes, all kinds of different vegetables like asparagus and things like that. And it'll be delicious. Salt, pepper, basic. If you want to add some garlic, you can add some garlic, maybe a little onion powder, and that's all you really need. All the flavor is in the vegetables you're using. So stick around for the next recipe.